Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to walk you through AWS Security Agent hands-on, a brand new AWS service that automatically reviews your architecture and code for security vulnerabilities. So this is full hands-on demo. By end of you will have run three different type of security analysis against a real vulnerable app and see exactly what finds its surface. So before anything else, this service is only available in US East 1 region. If sometime you didn't find it, it means you are in the wrong region. Switch your region first and then find for it. Okay, what we are going to build here. Okay, so this demo I have built a new Node.js Express payment process API called Payment Services. So it handles the credit card changes, credit card charges, transaction history, and the refunds. So deliverability, I have introduced multiple security violations, okay, hard-coded secrets, SQL injection, disable SSL, expose stack stresses, and the security agent is going to find all of them. Here is the most important thing to understand before we start on this. So the agent only scan the difference of your pull request. Only the lines that are now or change or new or changed. Think of it exactly like human code reviews. Okay. So they do not read or reread code that was already in the main branch. Okay. So the vulnerabilities must be introduced in the PR itself, not sitting on your main branch already. So I will show you exactly how it is structured and how it is going to be worked in this demo. Alright, so now let's understand the prerequisites before starting the hands-on for this demo. So we need an AWS account, active AWS account, which is region is specifically US East 1. Note down this service only currently available in US East 1. Okay. So third thing we require the IAM user if we are going to use the IAM only feature. If you are using the AWS Identity Center, then it's a different story. But considering if you are using IAM user IAM service fully on the local account, so you should create a IAM user or IAM role, okay, which should have the admin access or the custom policy, which I'm going to explain in the next step. What is the custom policy required for this particular demo? Okay. So then GitHub account we required. It can be free GitHub account or need a code review capability. Okay. For code review capability, we need at least one GitHub account, which you can use the free account or you can private account, either way, right? So GitHub repository you need to create for this demo. So I have already created one GitHub repository. You can clone that from your side and use it, or you can create your own based on your use cases. Okay. The second most importantly, what are the things in your local system needs for this demo? Okay. You should install the Git on your local system to check in the code or comment the code. Okay. Then Node.js 18 or higher version we required. We are out because our code in Node.js. That's the reason the Node.js is required. If you are using different platform, follow that prerequisites what you are using it. Okay. So third thing, AWS CLI needs to be installed. If you are using the AWS role, not role, I am a user, then we require to run the AWS config to store the AWS user keys and access keys and secure key. Okay. Then text editor such as a Visual Studio Code or any IDE, you can use it for the code review. Okay, or code editor. So and then browser AWS console access login you require. Okay. So this is the prerequisites on the AWS account and AWS local system where you are going to execute this code. So apart from this, there is a pre-demo checklist I am recommending. So you should have AWS account logged in, which you can see on my screen. I logged in AWS account in which is US East 1 region currently, because that is where we are going to see this service available and demo it. GitHub account I already created. I have my own GitHub account and I have logged in and also created the sample code and hosted that sample code in the GitHub, okay, in the main branch, which is vulnerable code. I'm going to explain how it is, and then verify the IAM role permissions or IAM role required permissions in place. Okay, so I'm still going to explain you later on how it's look like the permission perspective IAM user, that I'm going to explain you. Okay, so let's now jump into the actual hands-on. So what we are going to do in the demo perspective and continue this demo end to end. So now let's understand the what application we are going to use for this demo. So which is vulnerable, find the vulnerability in the code, right? So just I will give the some introduction of this application, how it is structured, folder structure, and how you can use this, right? So we are going to use the realistic payment processing REST API called the payment service. Okay, so this is Node.js Express application that handle payment transactions. So it is internally written with the common security vulnerabilities. So AWS Security Agent can detect them during the demo. Okay. So the component which we are added in this application or code, so which is API framework, which is Node.js plus Express. Okay, and purpose for this, the REST API serving the payment endpoints. Okay, so database we are using the Postgres SQL simulated version. Okay, and the store transaction records. Okay, authentication we are going to use the JWT tokens. Okay, use the session management, use for the session management, and the secrets. So hard-coded vulnerable secret internally in secure for the demo. Okay, so we are purposely going to change the code insecure or vulnerable. Okay, encryption we are going to use the AWS managed key. Okay, so we'll violate the key requirement. Okay, and then we'll see this how it is scanned. So and validation, we are missing variables, we are going to validate it and will be flagged in the code review or the code PR. Okay, so this is a simple means the code structure is, if you see my branch which I created for this demo, the payment service demo. Okay, so this is the private branch I currently created, but I'm going to make public as soon as this video completed, this demo completed, so you guys can clone it, or you can use your own code platform or the code security vulnerable codes to demo this, test this demo. Okay, so in this demo we have simple Node.js payment gateway service code resides. So which currently in main branch we have pushed this code as a vulnerable code, non-vulnerable code. So which is not there is no any vulnerability currently in this code, and this is very secure code we uploaded, and we are going to create a branch for this future branch, and that future branch we are going to commit the code which is fully vulnerable. We are make this code going to make this code as a vulnerable. We are changing the code in the future branch, and then we'll push this to the main branch, and during this PR we'll see how the security agents going to be work against this PR. Okay, so let's go on the next section. So I have already created the feature branch in this. So which branch, feature branch, you are going to fetch out from the local. Okay, so and I checked out this feature branch in my local Visual Studio Code. So where we are going to see how the code change is going to be happen. So I'm using the IDE as a Visual Studio Code. Okay, so where you can see I just checked out this code under feature branch. So this is my feature branch, and I already saved and committed, not committed yet, but I just injected the vulnerable code. Okay, and once we demo start, we create a PR, commit this code in the feature branch, and then we'll see the how code is going to respond or PR going to respond to scan the security agent. Okay, so let's jump into the next sections where we are going to actually set up the AWS security agent in the console. So I already given you the security console prerequisites. So make sure you are following those prerequisites and set up all the, like I set up the ID here, right? So after the code review, next important thing is a design document. So if you remember, we review the design document. This demo is required to have the design document crystal clear. So which will be the agent will be review that design document and it use against the validate the vulnerability and pen test. Mostly it is used for the pen testing. Okay, so we have created one design documents here. So the payment service design document for these applications. So we have written the design document such a way. So overview, the architecture of design, what component is involved, what networks architecture is there. Okay, and then how the data is getting flow, and security under security design, what the authentication used, encryption used. Okay, and then API security and data sensitive compliance requirement and deployment. Okay, so this particular design document has international gaps, which is well industry standard gaps. So no network segmentations mentioned in this document. AWS manage keys instead of KMS keys, and admin session with the 24 hours timeout, and then no data sensitive classifications has been mentioned in this design document, and AWS security agent will be flagged all these as a non-compliance in the from the design document, which is our first functionality to review this design document. Okay, so under the our security vulnerability agent. Okay, so then as I told you, so we are featured the feature branch, and in this feature branch we are updated the code with the vulnerabilities, which I am going to show you during the actual hands-on demo. Okay, so which you will be see the difference, what changes we made in the main branch working code. Okay, so the second important things which we are going to see about the IAM permissions. So we have created the IAM role, which will be having the default permission and the security permissions which we are given the IAM role. Okay, so we have the application security role we have created. We have the security agent. Okay, and this has the one inline policy and one attached AWS managed policy. So if you see the inline policy, it is purely for this demo purpose. Okay, so we have the given the actions permissions to logs. So get log events, and then secret manager create secrets. Okay, so these two permissions we added in the application policy, inline policy, and there is a secret agent web API access policy which will be used for the web API access for the secret agent once it is created. So you can go either you can create the custom role IAM role, or during the configuration or enable the agent we can create automatically through the console itself. Okay, so the AWS service itself create its own if you have the access to IAM, right? So currently I am logged in as a admin user, so I have the full access to create the IAM role. So I'm going to leverage that functionality to create the role automatically through the service, or you can use this custom role which we created. Okay, so you can use similar the JSON security, or you can use this AWS managed policy attached to the role, and this is the inline policy, which this is two important permissions required for the this demo. Okay, all right, so we till now saw all the prerequisites what you need to start this demo, and what are the permissions we required on the servers. We have created the customer managed policy, we have created attached the AWS managed policy to the IAM role which you are going to use for this demo, or we saw the code repo, how the code repo set up, main branch. We have full non-vulnerable code and the feature branch we created and checked out the feature branch in our local. So we can update that code in the feature branch as a vulnerable code, and then we'll push the code to the comment the code to the feature branch and merge the PR and going to see. So this is all prerequisites we saw now. Now this is time to let's start an actual demo and start creating the security agent. Okay, so we need to create an agent space first. So let's jump into the console. We already on the console. If you first thing what we need to do, we need to go on the home and then make sure your region is US East 1, right? So this is the US East 1 where we are going to run this process or run this demo. Okay, so the second thing what we are going to make sure that we have the AWS secret agent service can be seen. If you are not able to see this service AWS security agent, so it means that you are in the wrong region. So make sure you are selected US East 1 region. So I am in the console now. You can see the region selector up here and on top, which is US East 1. Okay, and if you see here the US East 1 region I already selected. Okay, so that must be set before the search the service in the AWS. So agent search box, you can search the service as AWS security agent, like AWS security agent. If you are not populate this service, it means you are in the wrong region, right? So I selected this service. Once I go in this service, okay, the agent space needs to be created. The agent space containers that holds all the security requirement, and we need to click on the type of security agent we are going to create in this security agent services. Okay, so we can go simply from here to set up the security agent. Okay, and if you can go here the agent space, we need to create first agent space. Okay, so I clicked on it and I will create the agents space now first. Okay, the setup the agent application. Okay, setup application I have to create it. I'll click on it. Okay, this will open the form. I have to give the name for this, so I'll give the payment service security. Okay, so I given this name. Now I have to type the description. You can give any description. So this what is this agent for? Okay, so let's give the agent scan security for payment service app. Okay, I given this. So now this is the main part where we have to choose the authentication authorization process, so web authentication. So they have given us two options. Remember I explained in the previous section where you need to choose the either IAM only access or the SSO access, which is can be used using the IAM identity center. So if you want to use the IAM only access, then you have to create a IAM role and IAM user for this. Okay, or you can use the simply if your organization allowed it or your organization set up the identity center. It's a very SSO login service for the IAM identity center where you can create your own users through the third-party integration of federation. So we can use the IAM identity center. Okay, so for this demo we are going to use the single sign-on with IAM identity service. Okay, and then the service access, we can choose either our own existing role which we created previously, right, for this demo, or you can create the default role also, which will be cover all required roles. To avoid the disturbance or avoid the roadblock, so we will use the create default role. So that default role will be create the custom policy which is attached with this name and create the custom role. Okay, So we'll allow this. As I am admin, I'm able to do this, but in your case, if you are not have access to IAM service, most of the companies doesn't have access to IDAM or IAM service for all the administrator or engineers. So you can use existing IAM role, which we have the required permissions, which I showed in the previous section. Okay. So we not going to change anything here currently. Okay. So we simply going to click on the setup agent, setup AWS security agent. Okay. So again, I'm saying what we did here. So we're going to create an agent space configuration, the payment service security. We are given a name, description, and selected the one of the service out of the IAM or the single sign-on with the IAM identity center. Okay, and then just click next and create the AWS security agent. I just click next, and now it will be create very quickly. So give some time, it will take 30 to 40 seconds, but it's created very quickly. So now our first agent space created for our application. So now let's open that payment service agent space. Okay. So if you see here on the console, so we have penetration test section, and then design review and the code review. We are going to test this each section during this demo. So first we are going to test the design review, then second code review, and if time allows that, we are going to see the penetration test also. Okay. So let's get ready for the design review first. To get the design review, we need to upload the design security requirements. So what needs to be scanned during the design? So we need to create the security requirements. So there are multiple security requirements already created by AWS itself. So which is called the default security requirements, already available in the security requirement sections in the left hand panel. Okay. So if you go in the navigate to the left hand panel, so you're able to see the security agents already have the custom managed security requirements already listed down. Okay, on the left hand navigation panel. Okay, so we see the all AWS managed requirements by default it is enabled. Okay, so that's already enabled, but in for this demo, okay, so we are going to create our own custom requirements. Okay, so AWS security agent custom requirement from has the 4 fields, right? The security requirement name we have to give. Okay, then the description, then applicability we have to give it in the certain characters, like there is character limits, and then compliance criteria, what should be the compliance criteria for your design scan, and then we have to create those custom security requirements. If you see, we don't have any custom security requirement, we are going to create under this our demo. Okay, so I have drafted some security requirements on my own, and then so that we are going to use here, right, as per the AWS given standard. Okay, so let me bring those on the screen. So I'm going to upload in my repos, so you can refer those. Okay, so I have the 5 security domain requirements or security requirements I created, which will be explain you the design and the design characters, right? So we have created network segmentation strategy defined. So as I explained you previously, right? Design document, we doesn't have the network security strategy defined. So this security requirement, as per my organization, it has to be segmented network, right? So that's what I defined how the scanning needs to be done. So what is the name of security requirement, which is the network segmentation strategy defined. Okay, and the description what it needs to be done, and the application applicability, it's what should be applicable for this, the EC2 instance, ECS, RDS, elastic cache, these are services as marked. Okay, so marks not applicable when the purely serverless functions or no VPC on VPC or on database. Okay, so it will be marked as that as per the design. It will review this against the design document which we have in the repo. Okay, the compliance criteria we have defined. What is the compliance criteria should be? So we have defined here. So it will be scan against our design documents which we are going to upload or which we're going to run against this security requirements. Okay, so let's create this security requirement which I created very 5 different security requirement. So this purely depend on my design document, or so technically it has to be create the design security requirements based on your organization's strategy, organization compliance, or organization security standards. Okay, so that will be whenever any design scan or any design document scan under the security agent, it will be compared with this security names or security standards and security requirements, and then it will be show whether it's your design document is compliance or non-compliance. Okay, so I designed purposely these 5 requirements which is vulnerable in our design document. So these are the 5 most vulnerabilities I added in purposely in design documents which is missing as per our this security requirement standard, and certainly when we run this to security standard it should be flagged as a non-compliance. Okay, so let's see how it is flagged now. So before that we need to just copy as is whatever they written here from my GitHub repo and paste it in your security requirement, and then we'll go do one by one on this demo. Okay, so let's go in the console again, back in the console, and we create our own security console requirements. Okay, so let's create on the security requirement. So if you populate here, it will be choose existing one, which is optional. I'm not going to choose existing one. I have my own created. So I will give the name which we have defined in the Excel. So I have the network segmentation. I'll paste it here. I'm going to paste as is how it is written. Okay, and then so it should not be miss anything, right? So network segmentation, the description will be this one. Okay, so and then accessibility I have written here, applicability, which where it is applicable, which scenario it is applicable, which service it is applicable, right? It is going to be show as it. So then compliance, so how it should be compliant. Okay, and remediation guidance. So I'm not going to give the remediation guidance. It will be agent maybe give the automatically. Okay, so this is first security requirement we are going to create under the custom. So I created one. Okay, so currently it is disable, will enable everything once we created all together. So second requirement is the KMS key, right? So the custom manage encryption, right? Key required as per my company standard. So but I'm going to use in the design, it's a AWS manage key, right? So let's create the description. So make sure you use as is, or you can create your own security standards based on your own requirement. You have to draft it like a prompt here, right? So what is the accessibility and how it should be scanned, security compliance as per your company requirement, right? So how should be it is compliant. Okay, so you have to mention the compliant criteria. The compliant criteria start with the compliant design code must show this prompt. You have to add it, right? So it can be read after that. So second we have created. Okay, and then third I'll create it short session. Okay, and then admin session, timeout sessions, right? So I not mention any timeout sessions in the design documents. So but we have not exceeded more than 15-minute timeout session, right? So financial services should not be continuous sessions, or longer sessions should be allowed. Okay, so this is applicable for our IAM role also. So any sessions token should not be exceeded more than 15 minutes or like that. But many companies not follow as a security guidelines, but we should follow that, right? So as a security governance. So we have created our third one, so two need to go. Okay, so select the security, scan, and then description I need to add as is. So this is must be use the secret manager. Secret must be stored in the secret manager, and it should not be hard coded, or it should not be plain in text. So that's what this security requirement I'm going to check. So code and design must be shows the secret retrieval from the secret manager, or the secret SDK needs to be secret manager SDK has to be mentioned there. The compliant criteria we already writing what should be looked for, where it should be looked for, and what it is doing. Okay, so this is the fourth one we have created. Okay, which is look for the secrets scanning or not. And then so we have created the custom secrets. So input validation required to all API endpoints, right? So input validation required. So what it is mean, description we are going to mention what it is. It's required the endpoint, every endpoint except the user supplied input must be implements the service side validation. So and sensationalization. The SQL query must use the parameterized query, right? So only, and it should not be plain text, right? What I can say, monitoring amount, right? So must be the validated or post numbers or error response, right? So those must be implemented. Okay, so the ability I already added, and I'm going to check the compatibility also on this compatibility section. Okay, so I think we are good here to created the 5 our custom requirements. Okay, so manage security requirements, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use the custom security requirements. I'm going to enable these all together. Okay, so let's go and enable those. Okay, will take some time. So now it is enabled. Okay, so once it is enabled, you can go ahead and start the first scanning, which is running the design security review. Okay, so we'll see how we can initiate the design security review against these all the custom security requirement. In short, this is our organization standard security policies, which will be design has to be compliant as per the security requirements. Okay, so we'll go in our agent space. Okay, and then in agent space, payment service security, click on the admin access. If you go in the, this is the web app pool. So here is the thing. So when you go log in as an administrator, so you will get access directly here. But if you are using any IAM user and you have to give it to the third party person or the engineer which doesn't have admin access, then it has to be go through the user access console. Okay, this is admin access console and user access console, two different consoles available. So currently we are going as I logged in as admin, it will be used as a single sign-on with our IAM identity center, right? So user assignment. So if this is for the admin purpose, but user access purpose in identity center, you have to add here the user from the identity center, which will be allow you to access to the console user. So that also I'm going to see end of this video, but for now we are going to add access as admin. So before that I will add my user in identity center which have existing users. So I have already created one identity center user. Add the user in identity center. I have created already federated user. I will add it here for the future demo perspective, but currently we are not going to use the user access console, but again we are going to use the admin access console for this test design review. Okay, so I just clicked on here. Okay, so it will be show you the nice console, so where you can see the design console. You can accept the cookies here, AWS cookies, and you can create the new design review here, right? So I'll introduce shortly. This is the web portal for the AWS Agent Security, automatically built by the AWS Agent Security Service. Okay, so if you see here our payment application, you can see here. If you go on the home page, you'll see the our service payment security service. As it's a single, it is currently communicating directly on this service, jumping on it. Okay, so if you see, I logged in as a administrator user. If you logged out, it will be login. You will ask for the login. So I can show that also how the user console looks like. Okay, once you go in the user, it will ask you for the login page. Once you logged in here, okay, now I already have the user created. If I give the username, which is added here, this username, and if I add the password, so it will be login with that login name and password for the same console here, administrator console. Okay, so currently I'm not going to use the user console, that will see the demo later on. Okay, so I'm going to use the AWS Security Agent admin console, where we can create a design review. So select the payment security product security review. Okay, and then you can click the create a design review for this. Okay, so and click the design review. Okay, and I'm going to create a first design review for my design. Okay, so I'll give the name for this design review. Okay, so the name might be payment service version, not this space, version 1.0, which is okay. So now I have to upload that MD file which we have created under our repo, right? So I have already have the MD file in the future branch, right, which I showed you. So we are going to upload that. That is vulnerable MD file. So we are going to upload that MD file under this design review. So where you can see the demo file, okay, can be reviewed again our document, design document. Okay, so if I go here, directly browse the console and demo security and security permissions. So this is payment service design MD file which we saw in the code review, was when I showed you the code repo. So I'll upload this, open this, okay, and then start the design review. So this, once I clicked on the start design review, it will be start comparing our standard security requirement policy which we created, or conditions compliance we created. It will be compared with the design review document, and it is find out the vulnerability in the design itself before we starting implementing the service. Okay, so design review in the progress. Okay, so we'll come back once it is complete. It will take some little bit time. Okay, so once it is completed, it will be show it is completed. We'll see the view the details on the payment review. So this is currently in compliance review check. So once it is completed, it will show the status completed, and it will give you the report, very nice report. So where what are the non-compliant and compliant review, where you can see it. Okay. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, if you see this now, design document is completed successfully. Okay, now let's refresh it to view the details, or we can refresh first here and check the status, whether it's status. Yeah, it is completed, and it scanned 15 controllers, okay, in 1 minute ago. Okay, and then if you click on this, okay, so it will be list down all non-compliant findings in design review. Okay, so if you go in the non-compliant finding, so it will give the on non-compliant finding again the design review, right? So which is uploaded the MD file, right? So the customer manage encryption key required for sensitive data, right? So this is if you click on this, it will be give the comment what is the missing here in this design document, and what is the remediation guidance. Like I told you, right? It will be give the remediation guidance, right? So just it asks the feedback, it's useful or not. Okay, and then these are the all network segmentation, as I told initially, right? So network segmentation is not in our design document, but as per the security requirement document compliance check, we are recommending or enforcing any design document should be defined the security segmentation strategy is defined in the network segmentations, right? So we have this remediation guidance. So the what is the comment, the network segmentation strategy defined. Okay, so the result is non-compliant because the design explicitly place the API and the database in the same subnet. Okay, and the security group opens port 5432 entire VPC CIDR, which is 32 CIDR /32, rather than restricting it API security groups only, right? And the documents also state no explicitly network segmentation between tiers, right? So basically, as per the industry standard, when you're designing any application in the tier base, right, front end and back end. So front end will be should be in the different subnet, which will be mostly exposed to the consumer facing. Okay, and then your back end has to be is the private subnet or your private network. Either you can define the two different VPC. It's a various design patterns for the segmentations. You can within the same VPC you can have the single CIDR and two different subnets define the segmented network, which will be first will be your front end subnet and back end subnet, which will be secure with your security groups, which will be allow or disallow the connectivity from the one subnet to another subnet, right? So that's what it is stated here. They didn't find it as per the our document, security document. If I go back in the security document, so if you go in the network segmentation architecture, right? So layers we defined, the components layers we defined, right? So if you see the Node.js Express API Gateway 3000, right, database Postgres, right? So the network architecture we define all EC2 instances in the single VPC, which is CIDR, right? So no explicit network segmentation between tiers. Okay, API and database in the same subnet. The security group opens the port for 5432 to the which is Postgres port. So all instance in the VPC. So this is what it is stating here. So this is the wrong. So we should, as per our security requirement, which is security requirement is given, network security requirement strategy defined, right? So that is for that what we'll need to remediate for this design document to achieve the compliance, the separate architecture into the latest 3 detention subnet, right? At application load balancer is in the public, the private API gateway. This is 3-tier architecture, I can say, right? There will be two different subnets. The public subnet will be heading to the application load balancer, and then the private subnet will be host the API gateway or API. Okay, and then isolated the database by creating the per tier security group, right? So the each tier, like the ALB, API, and DB, this is 3 tier, right? So each tier will be secure inbound, outbound using the security group, right? So RDS security group inbound rules only allow the API tier security group, not entire CIDR, right? So that's where you can restrict the API tier only can be allowed to access the database from the RDS, right? RDS subnet. Okay, so not front end or not any other service, only API subnet or API IPs, API hosted subnet tier IPs can be allowed to this backend tier, which is database, right? That is true. So this is where all you can find the similar concepts, that authentication or best practice is not compliant, right? It will be give whatever the compliances. You can go to the document and compare it. So I given one example. So because we have to look into the different section also. So this is how the design vulnerability you can see. So if you go in the home page now, so if you see the design review is available 1, it is completed, 15 controls has been scanned and is non-compliant. Okay, and then it's not enabled. So we are going to see the penetration test against this design document once it actually run. So to verify the penetration testing from the outside world. Okay, so for this demo purpose, we are going to see first design review, which we completed just now. Okay, now the next section we are going to see the code review, and then third section we are going to see the penetration testing. Okay, so got it? Okay, now we have completed the design review. The next step we are going to see out of those 3 functionality of the AWS Security Agent. First, we saw the design review. We saw the vulnerability from the out of the design, how to detect those design vulnerabilities, okay, and report it, and how to remediate that. Also, we suggested by the AWS Security Agent. Now, the time to jump into the second section, which is our code review, right? So code review we are going to do from the same console. Let's go back. This is our admin console. We will go back in our main security agent console, where we done with this right design review, okay, section, and we found the vulnerability, and we saw how it's working, and design review we already completed. If you see this all custom design and against these custom requirements, design review. Now time to set up the code review. To set up the code review, we need to install or configure integrations, right? So code review is depend on our code repo, right? A source control repo, right? Which is we are going to use the GitHub as a source control or our repo, right? So currently GitHub repo, we can set up integration or webhook from the integration section on the left hand side, right? So let's start on this to how we can set up the code review. Okay, so if you go in the under integrations, okay, so we have to create our own first integrations, which will be integrate with our GitHub. Okay, so I will click on the add integrations. So we have the GitHub issue tracker source repo, okay, and I'll click on this and click next. Okay, here, so it will be asked me to install and authorize the AWS security GitHub application, and then register details and under the registration. So okay, if I click on the install and authorization button, so it will be take me through the authorization to GitHub repo. Okay, just let's click, and then we'll see what's going to be happen here. Okay, so let's me simply install an authorization. Okay, so it will take me through repo, and this is going to be install and authorize the AWS Security Agent. Basically, it will install the AWS Security Agent on the GitHub applications, and it authorized me to access the repo. So either you can access all repos or you can access the selected repos. As we are not going to allow to access all the repos, I want to access only the certain repos or certain application repos, because we are doing only for the specific application. So I will select my payment gateway payment service demo repo. So payment service demo repo which we created previously on the GitHub, which will this one. So I selected here now, okay, and then I will click on the install and authorize. Once I click on install and authorize, it will install the agent in the GitHub application. So if you see here, the authorization succeed, okay. So if I want to verify, I go back to the GitHub, okay, and you can check there whether agent is installed or not, okay, under application, okay. So and once it is authorized, I have to give this name, what name this integration has to be resides in the security agent service, okay. So that I will give certain name like payment connected now. Okay, so I'll click on connect. Okay, so now the GitHub repo integration has been connected. So this is purely show how to private repo, how you can connect, integrate here, right? So once it's created integrations, now time to enable the code review. Okay, so for code review, this integration can be created by while in enabling the code review also. Let me take you through that. I'll go and again the agent space. I'll click on my agent space I created, and now we are going to create the code review here. So I have to enable the code review on this section. Once I click it here, it will be show available registrations, which already I'll register the GitHub integration, or I can create the new registration. So if I create new registration, click on next, it will be take you the same page what we were done here, right? So we already done this, so I'm going to come out this and I'll select the already registered the registration. I'll click on this and then next. So now this repo has been integrated. Select this repo. So any PR is going to be create on this repo will be going to be scanned, which is as you can see here, it's a private or public repo. It's a private repo, okay. And then click on next. So once click on next, it will be select the payment services, right? So when once we commit this code, it will be security requirement vulnerability findings can be done, okay. So code review is enabled, okay. So currently I'm not going to enable the pen test and test. I'll just review the enable the code review in this registration or repository. Okay, so let's enable the code review here, and pen test and test or pen test remediations we'll see it later on, but for now code review we can enable, and let's connect it. Okay, so now code review is ready to use it. So now the next step is to have our code. So currently we have checked in already non-vulnerability or secure code. It's partially secured, but it's not fully secured. So we checked in the main branch. So there are also some vulnerabilities available, slightly vulnerability, but we're going to see the experience where we have already code in the main branch, and we will be going to check in one new file in the from feature branch to main branch, which will be see whether that will be flagged as a non-compliant or what I can say non-vulnerability or vulnerability. Okay, so let's do first thing. Okay, let's go to Visual Studio Code. Okay, and update something in the current code. So currently I'm in the feature branch, okay, which is pulled out from the main branch. Okay, so I'll update the readme.json file, which will be the one demo today. Okay, just update this and save this file and comment this testing code. Okay, I'm just testing the code, so let's see what AWS vulnerability has to say about this. Just comment it out. Okay, so once checked in the code, so let's go in the create a PR. Okay, so I'll create a pull request from the feature batch to main branch and create a pull request from feature branch, and there is a slightly code changes. The moment I submit the create pull request, the expectation is based on our setup, enable the AWS security code review or security agent code review. So the branch PR will be start creating the scanning, vulnerability scanning, security scanning by the security agent itself. Okay, so I'm going to create a test code and create a PR. So once I create a PR, it will be start scanning the security agent. It has to be populate here. Yeah, see here. So now AWS security agent started reviewing the code. It will be give you the message AWS security agent is reviewing the your pull request and will post feedback shortly. It will be send you the email communication also in short, so where it is showing what are the things it's going to be scanned. Okay, once you receive the email, you have to wait couple of minutes, okay, to get scanned thoroughly entire code review. It will take some 3 to 4 minutes to scan it for this code. Okay, so once it is scanned vulnerability, it will be give you the result. So we'll wait for a minute. Okay, so before scanning result, we should not be it is allowing currently to merge the pull request, but we can add in the GitHub check. So if, without security scan, it should not be allow you to merge the pull request. So based on there is a lot of ways to you can configure the GitHub PR flow. Okay, so but that is not our topic today, but we are going to see the once the result comes in, then we'll merge the PR and then we'll see how it's going to be impact. So technically, it should not be review current code which is already checked in the main branch. Even it is vulnerability, it will pass because it's not checked in or scanned before we install the security agent. Okay, so it will be only should be scanned as per the processor functionality. Whatever we made a changes, we updated the m.md file or readme.md file. So only that changes has to be scanned. Let's see if it goes that. Okay, here you go. So it scanned that document, okay, and say no issue identified. There is no issue it find in the code we checked in. So what code we checked in comment, we change the file in the today. So this is not a vulnerability file. This is just a read only file, MD file, right? So that's the reason it is not showing any. So we'll merge this PR, and after this we'll be trying to introduce the vulnerabilities in the code changes in the feature branch and try to merge it, and let's see how it's going to give us the report what are the vulnerabilities we added. Okay, so I have updated already code vulnerability. I just copy and the branch, okay, and the Visual Studio Code. So now this is completed PR. Okay, so pull request is completed. Now let's go to the Visual Studio Code and just copy the code which is vulnerable. So currently, if you see, all the code is secure. Okay, I'm going to do the couple of changes in many codes. So I'll see what are the changes. I will copy the actual problematic code or vulnerable code in the branch. Okay, and make it available for you to vulnerable code, and let's see how it's going to be react. Okay, and let me okay, so it is replacing now. If I go the changes, see the changes here. So if we introduce the 8 changes, right? 8 changes in the 8 files, we'll go one by one. What are the changes we did? The package.exe, we updated the versions. Okay, we reverted the versions. Okay, and AWS SDK version introduced. And README, we deleted whatever we added in previous comment. Okay, and here I don't think so any changes other than space or something. Okay, so it is similar way. So app, we are okay going to change a lot of things, internal server error or 500 error. Okay, so the error handling we are going to change. This is a secure error handler, no struct details. Okay, so this is vulnerable code this side. So if you see the vulnerable code, we did the error.stack changes, right? This is populate the error. Okay, and then introduce the JWT tokens. Currently it is token is stored previously in secure code as a JWT secure code parameter, as a parameter or secure parameter, but here I am JWT token clear text, I am adding the clear text token value. Okay, and previously it's hash key 256 here. So here also I am going to generate the decode. Okay, algorithm, I'm remove the algorithm 256 and revert it to the normal algorithm to decode it. Okay, so that's where this changes is. Database is huge changes we did. So we removed all the variable values or secure values, so converted in the hard-coded text-based values, right? Password, username, or the payment database name, or the host name. Okay, and then payments.js, we introduced couple of vulnerabilities. Okay, and the similar way we had some few vulnerabilities also introduced in the key, right? So we are going to use no longer customer managed key, we are going to use the AWS managed key right here. So instead of AWS custom key. Okay, so let's checking this code in the feature branch. Code. Okay, so I added vulnerable code, just command check in. Okay, I commented and checked in the feature branch. So once I commented this code in the feature branch, then let's go back to the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Visual Studio Code, I am going to see the okay, so let's go back to the GitHub again and create a pull request for this. Okay, so AWS new main, I'm going to create a feature branch. Okay, again the same thing I'm going to say here. So we have a couple of changes, vulnerable changes introduced in the feature branch, and now pushing to the creating PR to the push to the main branch. Create a pull request, and we should see those vulnerable scanning code, right? So now agent is started scanning the code. So this may be going to take a lot of time because many changes we introduce. The previously only one small changes we did introduce. Now this will be bigger changes, will take some 2 or 3 minutes. If you want, you can fast forward the recording or like video, but I want to stay here and show the experience, like real experience, how it's communicate quickly, right? So it will take 1 or 2 minutes to scan the code. The agent is started scanning already. Wait here. So again, I told you, right? So it is allowing us to merge the pull request, but we can wait until it will be give us the data for the scan of vulnerability or non-vulnerability. almost 1 minute or 2 minutes. I want to refresh it because it has to be refreshed automatically. It will take little bit time. It's just 2 minutes completed currently, so it showed up like 3 to 4 minutes it will take, as we are introduced many changes. It will be take some time to scan the vulnerabilities. taking longer time, guys. Okay, so now here is the surprise. Okay, so now it successfully scanned the repo or code, and it's reviewed and given the all the information which stand for the vulnerability. Starting, it will be give the summary of left comment. Okay, so it's give the secure vulnerability must be resolved before merging it. Okay, so we cannot merge before reviewing the security. That's what I told you. So it is allowing to merge it, but we have to merge to wait for the security. So now it is given the vulnerability details. What is the vulnerable things? So first thing it got reported, which is the as a Postgres SQL, right? So SQL connection pool is the configured with the SSLs is equal to false, right? So the connection has to be true. It's a secure connection. So disabling TLS encryption on the database connection, lack of validation or insufficient validation of the security certificate can lead to host impression and the sensitive data leak. Okay, so why this is important? It is given the reason. So what remediation plan or remediation action you have to take to correct this? So you have to reject unauthorized is equal to true. So SSL has to be enabled. Okay, to enforce the TLS certificate validation or verification. Okay, the second, it identified the JWT signing secret hard coded, right? That's what I told, right? We have mentioned the JWT secret certificate, right? Hard coded, left hard coded in the code. So that's the reason it's giving the vulnerability. Okay, and another thing is JWT verification does not explicitly set allow the algorithm. So we have decode algorithm not set, which is hash 256. Okay, so we have the plain algorithm, non-algorithm decodation we are using. So that is wrong. Okay, we should set the algorithm. So in line number 14, it is given which line number you have to do it. So what remediation you have to use it, right? HS256 has to be used. Okay, and then what is the issue in next section? So which is authentication authorization one. So again the similar thing, which is JWT token decodation is not allowed at the prefix base. Okay, so request header authentication is JWT verification without stripping the bearer. Okay, prefix. Okay, so this is another vulnerability. And then secret algorithm. Okay, so hard coded credentials. Okay, and algorithm, that's two already we know. Okay, and this is the query, right? SQL query payment.js. Okay, amount the post request. Okay, so summarize the request.body, use the directly in the database, insert without type checking. Okay, so this is something using the insert query, right, directly in the code vulnerability without check added. Okay, and another, so this is the stack stress internal error. Okay, message exposed in the error response, right? So you should not be expose the error message in the response itself, right? So it has to be hidden, right? Or it has to be masked. Okay, on the API calls. So again here, like the internal error, right? So error message directly to the client in the JSON format, right? JSON response. So you should not be given the directly text readable format to the end user as a JSON response. Okay, so it has to be encrypted, or the can be contain the schema details tables or names columns on the error itself, right? It should not be exposed to the in the format of plain text to the end user, right? What needs to be recommended is replace the generation error response such as the res.status 500 json.error and the log full error details is server side only. Means like it should not be client side, should not be display the error in the plain text. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so these are the vulnerabilities. The main vulnerability which I was talking about, the mentioning the all non-secure connections. There is another hidden one, 8. So it's I'm loading it. Okay, so I was looking for this main. Okay, so the payment gateway secret, right? So the gateway secret, it's in plain text. Okay, which we mentioned. There is a VDB query, right? Select star. It is not correct query. You should not be use the star. Okay, it can be lead in the performance, or like it can be bring any secret data or secure data on the tech, on the payload, on the API, right? So that's, you have to avoid it. There is a one we added purposely, which is DB connection details, right? So that's what I was looking for. So you can resolve and convert here also as per the record. So this is the resolution also, it can be added. Okay, so let's see where the expose vulnerability packets. Okay, so if you see here, so this is all overall secrets and security comments added here. So this is our vulnerability reported, which we was introduced in the code, and which is non-secure code as a secure code. Okay, so that's what the we need to fix it, all these lines 13 to 17 and 13 to 14 to 16, right? So this is all we need to fix it, which is the payment.json, payment.json, right? All the files, it is giving all the errors where we are going to fix it. Okay, so if you're done here, you can either merge the code. We should not be merging this code in the main branch, as it's found a lot of vulnerability. Okay, so we have to first fix this code, and then we have to merge this branch. So in technically, you can add the automations where it can be reject the merge, or it can be denied and merge the branch if found any vulnerability, until unless you fixed it. Okay, so if you find this good, you can go ahead and start using this code. So let's go back in the security code. We'll cancel this. Definitely we are not going to merge this. We are going to reject this PR. Okay, and let's reject it. Okay, close pull request. Okay, so we are close the pull request, and this will be not merged in the code. So this is how we can review the code. Okay, we saw the design review here. Okay, which is all the vulnerability in the design document. Okay, how it is show the vulnerability, 15 control vulnerabilities was showed us. Okay, then we saw the code review. So code review also given details, all the details, what are the things we did. We integrated the GitHub repo with the code review, and it has scanned through the code review. It is given the vulnerability details, what are the vulnerability overview, it showed us what are the overall vulnerability in the one paragraph, and then it will give the individual file, which line it is found the vulnerability, what code remediation you have to do in terms of remediate the code, and which will be qualified for the vulnerability scanning. Okay, so here we'll stop today. So we already saw design review and code review. The next video I'm going to show the pen testing for the code perspective as well as the network perspective, how the network pen testing, network security pen testing we are going to perform here. So we will be actually executing this app. Will be have the domain, and will be integrated with the target domains, how we can scan the target domains for the pen testing, and how the security breach happened through the network, how the network got exposed. That we are going to see in the next lecture. So thanks for watching this video. Definitely it is very long video because it's all critical integrations we are doing, or critical configurations we are doing to scan the video with the GitHub integrations. Then authorization needs to be done, the code changes needs to be done back and forth. So definitely I tried to cover the pen test, but it will become a very bigger video. So that's what I'm cutting in these two sections. So one is design review and code review we done. Now pen testing we are going to perform in the next video. Stay tuned for the next video and follow the page, or follow the channel, so you'll definitely get an alert for the next video. So this video, thanks for watching this video, and keep learning. Thank you. Okay, so now we are done with the all code review. So we have this private repo. I'm going to convert this in the public repo, so you can check out this repo and start testing the same thing what we did here. Okay, so one thing I want to show additionally apart from this security agent. So if someone remember I have created the AWS GitHub or DevOps agent, sorry, AWS DevOps agent video. So introduce the demo. So many people ask the question how we can integrate the GitHub with the DevOps agent, and it can be possible. Yes, it is possible. I'll show you here the similar way of how we integrated the AWS Security Agent. This is a similar step. We can do it from the AWS DevOps Agent. If you go back in your repo, I already installed that extension. Okay, if I go in the settings, okay, setting all the way down to the applications. So in application, if you see here, right? So AWS DevOps Agent, it's already installed and configured, and we have today we are installed the AWS Security Agent. So the under application you can install the n number of applications and get it authorized, and then you can integrate the GitHub with the AWS agent also, right? DevOps agent also. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and keep learning it, and happy learning. Goodbye.